What's up, everyone? Special edition of Shoe Booty Sports coming at you Wednesday. I don't know how we glossed over this topic that we're about to talk about yesterday, just completely slipped my mind, but we are going to give you some bonus coverage here, a little bonus mini episode this week. Of course, this is your host, Graham Powell, co host Bradley Brown over there. Say what's up, Brad.
How's it going?
It's going. Coming up on Christmas time. Had the Christmas episode last night, and this is just a little bonus Christmas special we're throwing at y'all. So we are going to talk this episode about the Harding University Bisons. That's with a S on the end of it. Uh yeah, the Harding Bisons won the Division II national championship in football on Saturday, routed the Colorado School of Mines, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah, 30. I watched the entire game, beat them 38-7, thumped them. I mean, dominated the entire game. And we're going to, like I said, I don't know how I didn't think to talk about this yesterday, but here we are talking about it today. They get their own little episode here. So we're going to make up for it now. You saw none of the game, correct?
Zero. Saw zero of the game. I forgot that it was coming on TV. So
Yeah, I just kind of got lucky with that. I got up, I ate breakfast, I made coffee, I turned the TV on, and they had essentially just started this game. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is on." I mean, it just popped right there, like right on the TV, and I was like, "Oh, cool." So I did text my dad like, "Hey, this is on," and he was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." So we both watched it, and I had heard good things about Harding all year, and saw that they kept advancing in the playoffs, and which, by the way, Division Two has the playoff that apparently Division One is hoping to get. It works for them, but yeah, just 15 games that both teams ended up playing. Of course, Harding 15-0, undefeated, and lots to talk about there. But I didn't get to see them play at all. I mean, because it's a Division Two program in Searcy. I just hear good things, and to actually get to watch them, on TV or just to watch them play was truly a treat for multiple reasons. One, it's nice to see a football team in the state of Arkansas that can play at the
yeah,
collegiate level, and two, it was just cool the style of play. Like and they brushed up on the announcers brushed up on the history as the game was going on, especially as Harding pulled away. I mean, it was there was a certain point where you knew it's their game. It was close early, and like Harding just kind of steadily grinded. They run the FLEXBONE, by the way, FLEXBONE offense. Which if I were a high school football coach at the say class 4A and below, like there's 6A, probably like 3A and below, around that range. If I were at a smaller school, um, if I were a high school coach in Arkansas, I would run the FLEXBONE. That's my favorite of those offenses. It's basically it's centers around discipline and misdirection. And you can pound the ball in that, but in a methodical way. It's not just shoving it down your throat every play, but it's misdirection, discipline, doing your job, but you can also throw out of it too. And Harding did that. I mean, Harding did that a couple of times, and their quarterback could play. He made a couple really nice throws. But it was cool to see a high school offense, done so well, like so well. And Harding didn't have any penalties the entire game, and everyone did their job. What was our biggest gripe all year about Razorback football? The offensive line.
yeah.
It was atrocious.
Penalties. Offensively, yeah, terrible.
Penalties and the offensive line. And Harding was the opposite. Harding had an incredible offensive line and had no penalties the entire game. The blocking was outstanding. And going back to announcers talking about the history of it. They had run the spread for the longest time, and at a certain point, I can't remember when they said, but they switched it up to the FLEXBONE because, according to their coach, it wasn't championship football. They were tired of losing games like 48-46, or whatever it was. And it wasn't fair to the defense. The defense was on the field too much. They weren't getting, enough time off the field to, catch a break, catch their breath. So they switched to the FLEXBONE to control the clock more, keep the defense fresh, and it just felt like it better suited them as a program. And they figured out how to not only run that offense, but get the guys needed in order to run that offense to the highest ability possible, if that makes sense. I mean, the linemen were huge, strong, did their job, disciplined. Even the tight end, that's when I knew like Harding has figured this out. Their tight end, you see an 87 out there that looked like he was 350 pounds, and an athletic, like an athletic 350 pounds, not just, a fat guy out there, a big, strong
Yeah.
dude that could run. I mean, but he was clearly just blocking. He was out there to block. But when your tight end looks like a left tackle, that's when these guys can run the football. And boy, did they. I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw this stat, but Harding in that game became the first school in any collegiate became any I'm saying this wrong because my post went away. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're the first collegiate program to ever rush for 6,000 yards in a season. And they did it
Yeah.
in 15 games. Man, I
60
just had it
was it
pulled up.
6,351 yards for the whole season
I don't
and
think it's
20, yeah, and 26 pass completions for the entire season.
really
Ridiculous.
that irritates me because I had it pulled up just for this. I searched for it and pulled it up just for this, and then it goes away as I'm opening my
Yeah.
phone. Man, that ticks me
They
off.
they blew away the yardage record for rushing yards by almost 1,000 yards, I think.
I gotta find that. I don't know if that number's accurate because it's on. Okay, there it is. All right. After yesterday's Division II football national championship game, Harding set the all-time collegiate rushing record this season with 6,160 yards. So 6,160 yards. They are the first team to eclipse 6,000 yards in a single season. So yeah,
Oh,
that's wild.
the stat I've seen was 6,351. Maybe that was total yards, including the 26 pass completions.
Maybe so, but yeah, this was just the rushing yards, and that's crazy. That's video game stuff. That's over 400 yards a
I
game
don't even know if you
rushing.
could do that on the video game.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could, but I mean, you'd be running it every play, and you'd have it on
That'd
like
be like that'd be like year 6 in the campaign mode.
all right, so that's 411 yards a game rushing. That's in 15 games. That's 411 yards rushing per game. Like that's wild. But yeah, and that's why I wanted to make it a point to get on here and talk about that. Like that's that feat. Like that's amazing. Like they figured out what they wanted to do and they became experts at it. They became absolute experts at running the FLEXBONE. Again, I like that offense anyway. I liked it from this goes back to my reporter days of seeing teams like I'll give it Carlisle, like Carlisle when they were playing really well. That's what they ran. Their head coach Scott Waymeyer uh, won a lot of games there and did it with that and did it with you know winning the battle up front, discipline, misdirection, and you could throw out of it if you wanted to. You don't do it a lot. That's how you but you keep the defenses honest by throwing it every so often. And that's what Harding did, and they did it well. And the other cool thing, I mean, a lot of those guys they're not all Arkansas kids, of course, but a lot of those guys are Arkansas kids. The quarterback from Harrison, That Braden J kid is, I'm pretty certain, is a Cabot kid, and like his dad is I believe or what, yeah, I don't know if he still is, but was at least the offensive line coach there at Cabot High School. Because yeah, he coached my brother, so that was pretty cool to see. That kid could fly, by the way. I mean, that kid had I think he had close to 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Uh, Great game by him, and just amazing performance from that from that team. And the biggest there were a lot of takeaways, and I hate to compare them to Arkansas because it's not fair to Harding. But when I watched Harding play, I was like, that's what I wanted to see from Arkansas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what Brett Bielema would have been striving for. And like Harding was, I mean, it was perfection in that game and throughout the year, 15-0. But the biggest difference, I mean, to compare the two, like I said, I don't want to be unfair to Harding, but these are the big noticeable differences in a successful program and a program that has failed miserably this past season in the Arkansas Razorbacks. And Harding, that game, no penalties on either side of the football. No penalties. The blocking on the offensive line and just all over the field was just incredible. I mean, offensive linemen that did their job, won the battle up front, and just did their job. You know, just extreme discipline. Overpowering your opponent plus discipline equals dominance, and that's what you saw. That's what you saw on the scoreboard at 38-7. I mean, they beat an undefeated team. It's not like they beat, a scrub squad. It was two
Mm.
undefeated teams playing in a national championship game that Harding dominated. And the other thing, the big noticeable thing, I think this is the first thing I noticed, was those guys played even like the wide receivers, like those whatever receivers were out there. It was only like one or so, but they played to the whistle every play, every single play. I mean, they were battling until the whistle blew. And you saw a couple of times some of those School of Mines defenders were just kind of looking at the official like, "Hey, why don't you call that?" And it's like he didn't do anything. He's blocking until the whistle blows. He's playing football. And how many times did we watch Razorback football, especially on that soft ass offensive line? This is Arkansas Razorbacks, that is. Like just start walking or just slow jogging 3 or 4 seconds before the whistle. How many times did we see that? Was it
How many?
every
How
play?
many play? Yeah, I was going to say, how many plays did we have this season? Because it was every freaking play.
Yeah. It was pitiful to watch. I mean, it was the softest showing you'd see from an offensive line. No heart, no fight, and Harding was the opposite. I mean, it was very cool to watch. It was very fun to watch and just cool to see that program, get a national championship, the first in their uh, program's history. And I'd heard I'd heard a lot. You hear a lot of good things from these schools, like these smaller schools in Arkansas, but a lot of it comes from like Henderson, right? Um, Henderson State University. What's the other one there in Arkadelphia? That's across the road. Drawing a blank.
Well, you got me.
Okay, so Henderson State University and Washita Baptist University. Like you hear good things, especially from like Henderson State in football. And so, at least in recent years, not so much, or in fairly recent past years, within the last 10 years, I'd say. And haven't heard much from them in the last few, but this year I did hear a lot of things about Harding, and I knew they were getting a lot of like homegrown guys, especially going back from when I was a reporter. But they never had this kind of success. But they did everything right in Saturday's game, a national championship game, Division II national championship, and it was just a really cool thing to see. And I had to give them their props on that. had to show some love for them. That was really fun to watch. I mean, just to, like I said, see the FLEXBONE offense run to absolute perfection. Like if you're a high school coach and that's the offense you're running, which if you're at a smaller school and you know what you're doing, that's going to be one of the offenses that you're going to run. I'm turning on that film. I'm taking that film and I'm showing it to my team and saying this is what we do. And like I'm pointing out every little thing that they did. And like this, just do your job and the rest will take care of itself. Now, Harding had playmakers too. You know, I mean, like I said, the quarterback. I mean, when he did throw it, I mean, he made a couple of pretty big time throws. And it was like, wow, okay, they can throw it, you know. But yeah, just a really neat thing to see. And we had to get on had to get on here and pay our respect to that. Congratulations, Harding University Bisons, Division II national champions. I don't know how many of those guys are coming back, but it was that's a program that's on the map now, and I'm going to at least pay attention to more so next football season. But yeah, congratulations to that school, Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas. Man, pretty cool. So just had to pay them my respect there. And yeah, like I said, bonus coverage coming at y'all tonight. And yeah, anything else to add, Brad?
Merry Christmas.
There you go. Merry Christmas. Said it last episode. We'll say it tonight. Merry Christmas, and we'll be back the day after Christmas. But until then, again, congrats, Harding University, Division II national champions. And next week we'll be talking more bowl games and stuff. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Christmas Day basketball games, etc. But yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Till then, deuces, y'all. Merry Christmas.
Peace.